Hello everyone and welcome to Sally and Bytes. Today, I am here to teach Data File Handling, Part 4, for the Class 12 students of Computer Science. In this video, we are going to learn writing data to file, write function, writeline function, appending data to file with practical implementation. So, let's dive in and get started. Let's learn about writing data to file in Python. It is pretty standard that large chunks of data need to store in the files. Python is widely used in data analytics and comes with some inbuilt functions to write data into files. We can open a file and do different operations on it, such as write new contents into it or modify a file for appending content at the end of a file. Now, look at this picture. A file is a collection of data stored on a storage device. It can be a text file containing human-readable characters or a binary file containing non-textual data like images, audio, video, etc. Let's see about the write operation. A write operation refers to the process of saving data to a file in the external file, secondary storage. In Python, you can perform write operations to create, update, or modify the contents of a file. There are two things we need to remember while writing to a file. If we try to open a file that doesn't exist, a new file is created. If a file already exists, its content is erased, and new content is added to the file. In order to write into a file in Python, we need to open it in write mode by passing w inside open as a second argument. The Python programming language provides the ability to work with files using open function. Python programming treats some files as text files, where lines are separated by new line characters \n. You can open regular files with the parameter r. Now we are going to learn how to write data to a file. Python provides various methods associated with a file object for writing data to a file. We can write character data into a file in Python by using the following two file object methods: write of string function and writelines of sequence of lines function. Let's learn about write of string method. Write of string method takes a string as parameter and writes it in the text file in a single line. For storing data with end-of-line character, we will have to add \n character to the end of the string. Notice the addition of \n at the end of every sentence while talking of data.txt. \n is treated as special characters of 2 bytes. As the argument to the function has to be string for storing numeric value, we have to convert it to string. Here, file object is the file object that you've opened using the open function. String is the string you want to write to the file. Note that the write method actually writes data onto a buffer, temporary storage. When the close method is executed, the contents from this buffer are moved to the file located on the permanent storage. Let's see some examples for write of string method. Now, look at the main code, main.py. In line 2, f equals open of myfile.txt, w. This line opens the file named myfile.txt in write w mode. The file object is assigned to the variable f. If the file doesn't exist, it will be created new. If the file does exist, its previous content will be erased. But, here, in this example, we don't have a file named myfile.txt, which is not yet created. In line 3, this line writes the string hello. This is some data followed by a new line character, \n, to the file. The new line character adds a line break, ensuring that the next write will start on a new line. In line 4, this line writes the string to write to the text file, followed by a new line character to the file. Again, the new line character ensures that the subsequent write will be on a new line. In line 5, this line prints a message to the console, indicating that the data has been successfully written to the file. In line 6, this line closes the file. It's important to close the file when you're done writing to it to ensure that the changes are saved and to free up system resources. Now, click the Run button on the main code. You can see the red arrow pointing the Run button. Ta-da! What a surprise! After running this code, you'll find a file named myfile.txt in the same directory as your Python script, containing the 2 lines of text that you've written. Now you can see the new text file, myfile.txt, created. And you can see the 2 lines of text, hello, this is some data to write to the text file. So, if the file doesn't exist, it will be created new. Let's see another example. If the file exists, data present in the file shall be overridden or overwritten every time we run this program. Here, a new myfile2.txt file is created, and this file will have contents specified inside the write method. Now, we can see how to create a new text file. Come on. Now, look at this picture. We are clicking to the new file to create. Immediately, a dialog box appears, showing untitled. Now let us add a text file name, myfile2.txt, and press OK. Now, in the first screen, we can see a new file created, named myfile2.txt. Now, look at the second screen. You can type the 2 lines of text, hello, this is some data to write to the text file. Now, look at the third screen. Here, we are typing the main code in main.py location. Now, look at the main code, main.py. In line 2. This line opens the file named myfile2.txt in write w mode. As before, if the file doesn't exist, it will be created. If the file does exist, its previous content will be overwritten. The file object is assigned to the variable f. In line 3, this line writes the string Python files followed by a new line character, \n, to the file. The new line character ensures that the next write operation will start on a new line. In line 4, this line writes the string are interesting to work with, followed by a new line character to the file. Again, the new line character ensures that the subsequent write will be on a new line. In line 5, this line prints a message to the console, indicating that the data has been successfully written to the file. In line 6, this line closes the file. After running this code, you'll find a file named myfile2.txt in the same directory as your Python script will be overwritten. You can see the text overwritten as Python files are interesting to work with in the text file, myfile2.txt. In order to avoid this situation, we should add new text, append, to already existing text using append mode, which we shall discuss in the same video at the end. Let's see an example. For storing numeric data value in a text file, conversion to string is required. Now, look at the main code, main.py. This code is about writing text to a file named num.txt in Python. Now, look at line 2. This line opens the file named num.txt in write mode, w. It creates a file object f that allows you to interact with the file. If the file doesn't exist, it will be created. If it already exists, its content will be replaced. Line 3. X equals 45. This line assigns the numeric value 45 to the variable x. In line 4. This line writes the string learning files in Python followed by a new line character, \n, to the file. This text will be the first line of the file. Line 5. This line converts the numeric value stored in the variable x, which is 45, into a string using the str function. Then, it writes this string representation of the number to the file. In line 6, this line simply prints the message write operation to the file done successfully to the console after the file write operation has been completed. This serves as a confirmation that the code has executed successfully and that the data has been written to the file as intended. It's a good practice to include such messages to keep track of the execution flow and provide feedback to the user or the programmer during the development process. In line 7. This line closes the file that was opened using the open function. It's important to close the file after you're done writing to it to make sure that all the data is properly flushed and saved. So, when you run this code, a file named num.txt will be created, or overwritten if it already exists. You can check this file on the right side, which has the content, learning files in Python, in the first line and 45 on the next line. Thus, the code demonstrates how to convert a numeric value into a string using the str function and then write both strings and converted values to a text file. Note that, while working data to a file using the write method, we must provide line separator, \n, new line feed, otherwise the entire data shall be written in a single line. Let's see another example. Python program to perform addition of two numbers in a file. This code will generate an error and no values are written to the file, newFile.txt. You can check the file empty on the right side. This is because writing numbers is not permitted to a file. Thus it is required to be converted into a string first. You need to convert num1 and num2 to a string using str function, before writing it to the file. To perform addition of two numbers in a file, modification of example 4. In line 2, this line opens the file named newFile.txt in write mode, W, and creates a file object F for writing. In line 3, this line prompts the user to enter the first number. The input function reads the input as a string, and int converts it to an integer. In line 4, similar to the previous line, this one prompts the user to enter the second number. In line 5, this line calculates the sum of num1 and num2 and stores it in the variable sum. In line 6, this line writes the string \n number1, followed by the string representation of number1 to the file. The str function is used to convert number1 to a string before concatenating it with the rest of the text. In line 7, similarly, this line writes the string \n number2, followed by the string representation of num2 to the file. In line 8, this line writes the string \n sum of two numbers, followed by the string representation of sum to the file. In line 9, finally, this line closes the file after writing all the necessary information. This code collects two numbers from the user, calculates their sum, and then writes a series of lines to the newFile.txt file, each containing information about the numbers and their sum. Each line starts with \n to create a new line, and then the corresponding text is added using string concatenation. This creates a structured output in the file. You can check the output in the text file, named newFile.txt on the right side. In this program, the plus operator will concatenate the two strings and str method is used for type conversion from an integer to a string. Let's learn about the writelines method. Writelines method is the sequence data type such as list, tuple, etc., including multiple strings, that can be written at the same time using writelines method in the text file. The syntax is file object, writelines of sequence. Here, file object is the file object that you've opened using the open function. Sequence _of strings is an iterable, like a list or a generator, containing the strings you want to write to the file. Let's see an example. Program to add list items to a file using writelines method. Let's see the main code, main.py. In line 2, it opens the file named myfile.txt in write mode, W. The file will be created if it doesn't exist, and if it does exist, its previous content will be cleared. In line 3, it defines a list containing 3 strings, each representing a line of text. The \n at the end of each string represents a new line character, ensuring that each line is written on a new line in the file. In line 4, It writes the contents of the list to the file using the writelines method. Each string in the list is written as a separate line in the file. In line 5, it displays a message indicating that the lines have been written to the file successfully. In line 6, it closes the file. It's important to close the file after writing to ensure that all data is properly flushed and resources are released. This code will work as expected, creating a file named myfile.txt with the following content, as shown on the right side: myfile.txt file, including the contents, computer science, information technology, and artificial intelligence, each displayed one below the other. Note that while reading from or writing to the file, the cursor always starts from the beginning of the file. Writelines method accepts any type of sequence as an argument. \n, new line character, is explicitly passed to writelines method. We have to use the \n, new line character, in the program, after the end of each list item or string. You must have noticed that till now we have used close method in all the programs to close the file in the end. Just remember that in Python, it's recommended to use a with statement when working with files to ensure proper file handling, which automatically closes the file when you're done with it. Here's how you can modify your code to use the with statement. Now look at the main code, main.py. In line 4, we have used with statement to open the file. We have already learned about the with statement in detail in Data File Handling, Part 2, Methods to Open File Using With Statement. This way, you don't need to explicitly call f.close method, because the file will be automatically closed when the with block is exited. Key points to remember. For storing data with EOL character, we have to add a new line character, \n, at the end of every sentence to mark the end of file. In case of storing numeric value, we have to either convert it into a string using str method or write it in quotes. We cannot write numeric data directly into the file. If we don't use the close method, it will not write anything into the file, as without closing the file, the resources are not released. If we write more data to an existing file, it will overwrite the previous data. Thus, the entire file will be overwritten. Therefore, in order to add data to already existing data, append mode is to be used. Let's discuss about appending data to a file. Append means to add to. So, if we want to add more data to a file which already has some data in it, we will be appending data. In such a case, use the access mode, which means open for writing, and if exists, then append data to the end of the file. In Python, we can use the mode to open an output file in append mode. This means that, if the file already exists, it will not be erased. If the file does not exist, it will be created. When data is written to the file, it will be written at the end of the file's current contents. The syntax is file_object equals open of filename, a. Here, file_object is a variable that will hold the reference to the opened file. You can choose any valid variable name you like. File name should be replaced with the name of the file you want to open. A is the mode in which you want to open the file. A stands for append mode. Let's see an example. Program to add data to an existing data in the file. The given code accomplishes the task of appending data to an existing file. Now, look at the main code, main.py. It opens the file myfile.txt in append mode, writes the specified data to it, and then closes the file. Now, look at the right side text code, myfile.txt. Here the existing data "Hello everyone, welcome to Sally and Bytes" are inside this file. Now when we append or add extra data, we are learning how to append data to an existing data in the file. This is also added with the previous text, without overwriting. You can see in the right side text box, second box. Let's see another example. program that asks the user to input their name and age and store data in a text file. Now, look at the main code, main.py. In line 2 and 3, in these lines, the program uses the input function to prompt the user to input their name and age. The values entered by the user are stored in the name and age variables, respectively. In line 4, here, the program opens the file named user_details.txt in append mode A. This means that the program will add new content to the file without overwriting its existing content. In line 5, the program writes the user's name and age to the file, separated by a comma, and followed by a new line character, \n. The new line character ensures that the next entry will be written on a new line in the file. In line 6, after writing the user's data to the file, the program prints a success message to the console, indicating that the data has been stored in the text file. In line 7, finally, the program closes the file using the close method. It's important to close the file when you're done writing to it to ensure that the changes are properly saved and resources are freed. You can see below the user_details.txt file, where the program asks the user to input their name and age, and finally the given data is stored in the text file, one below the other. Thanks for watching. Watch the upcoming videos. Data File Handling Part 5. Relative and Absolute Path, Standard File Streams. You can check the link in the description box below.